Hello everyone and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are reacting to the game theory. Danger, don't play this game. Inscryption. Okay, so I have never heard of this. Inscryption? Never heard of it. This is my first time hearing it. Probably gonna be a bit spoiled, but it is what it is. First off, the link to this video will be down in the description below. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button to support the channel, support this, show that you like all the content being provided. Also be sure to leave a comment down below. Saying about this game and this thing in general, because it says it's a game, so Inscryption game kind of thing. I don't know. Or you can also leave a comment about another reaction video you want me to react to. I have depending if it's not 18 and up, I will react to it. Like gore or not, I think I can show that, but I'm probably gonna have to make sure. Rambling. Anyway, also be sure to hit the like button to show that you also like this video. Like this, it's just simple. It's just a simple button. Click it, turn blue, shows you that you like it. Also be sure to hit the notification button to be notified immediately when a new video comes out. Now, before I even begin this, I want to say Friday something's getting posted up. I'm gonna let people be alerted on my other channel that I'm doing this as well, cause it's something big and something that needs to be paid attention to. So that said, the video before Friday, I will say what it is. So be ready for that. With that said, let's get it going.
You're opening a pack of trading cards. Inside are coordinates to a secret location out in the woods. It's nearby, so you go. You dig and you find a simple white box buried under layers of soil. Inside it is a disc with mysterious words scrawled across the label, Inscryption. What follows is a deadly card game where your life and the fate of the world hang in the balance. The only thing missing is a Gen 1 holographic stoat. It is, by all estimations, the best indie title of 2021. The only thing is, don't play it. Seriously, don't do it. Do not play this game. Confused? Well, to understand why, let's go on a journey. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that also requires a small sacrifice to summon a few minutes of your precious watch time. Today we're talking about the latest game to come out of the insane mind of Daniel Mullins. For those of you who aren't familiar with his work, Daniel was the brilliant game designer behind 2016's absolutely insane Pony Island. Look at that skill. I did not kill Jesus. And I've been a huge fan of his work ever since. And now his latest game, Inscryption, is all over the internet, being hailed as one of, if not the best game of 2021. And I played it. I've enjoyed it. It is fantastic. But I'm also here to tell you that you should not play it, because doing so might just doom the entire world. Sound like an over-the-top exaggeration? Well, allow me to explain. And be warned, there be spoilers ahead. As soon as you boot up the game for the first time, the story begins, but not in the way that you'd expect. We first hear a mysterious voice that says, "Okay, time to figure out what's on this thing." Then, to make things even weirder, despite having never played it before, the option for new game is grayed out. Our only option is to select continue. So we do that, and we meet a mysterious figure that greets us by saying,
"Perhaps you've forgotten how this game is played. Allow me to remind you."
Immediately this set off theorist alarms in my head. To me, this implies that before we got a hold of the game, someone else had already begun the story, similar to what we saw recently in another game, Andy's Apple Farm. Could there be some secret lore hidden here as we piece together the mysterious backstory of the game and who played it before? I think so. What follows is a roguelike deck building game where cards require sacrifices to summon, all while this guy takes on the role of Dungeon Master, donning different masks to simulate the various characters that you encounter on your journey. Gotta say, as a theater kid, I appreciate the commitment to the bit. You play progressively more difficult rounds against each other, earning teeth via your card's attacks to add to a scale on the side of the table. Tip the scale far enough to one side and you win. So it's a tabletop game a la Hearthstone, right? What's the big deal here? Well, if you play long enough, there is so much more lurking under the surface. First off, the cards start talking to you, even remembering the times that you sacrificed them in battle, which is certainly off-putting and guilt-inducing, but we also gotta be honest here, if they weren't such useless cards, I wouldn't be sacrificing them as much. Stoat! And you'll be doing a lot of sacrificing because the game eventually gets real hard. In fact, there are times when it seems like the game will do everything in its power to make you fail. When that happens, you get the chance to find a death card in your next playthrough. But while most other cards are based on woodland creatures like rabbits, bats, and a sassy stoat, these death cards feature you, or at least a past iteration of you. Lose the game and the Dungeon Master Leshy uses his camera to immortalize you as a card. If you do manage to win on any given playthrough, you might think that it's suddenly time to turn the tables. This time, you're gonna be the one to pick up that camera, point it at Leshy, push the button to snap the photo, and nothing. Turns out it's not the camera that's magical, but the film that turns people into cards. The solution to this problem lies not in the heart of the cards, but rather in Leshy's cabin. See, the cards are only half the game. The other half involves us exploring the cabin where the game takes place. While you play the card game, you'll discover clues that help you to unlock and obtain special items, including another sentient card, the Stink Bug, and a Stabby Boy. Yep, as it turns out, you can bring a knife to a card fight, but the target for the knife isn't the Dungeon Master, but rather yourself. You can use the knife to pluck out one of your eyeballs, which adds a large amount of weight to the scales. Fortunately, our Dungeon Master is all about the joy of the game, and as losing an eye will diminish this joy, he actually offers you a spare from his eyeball box, which is a thing that he has just laying around. However, one of these eyes is...
Okay, 1, this is literally messed up as heck. 2, why does he have that many eyeballs? That is disturbing as heck. And 3, don't play this game if you're below 13. If it has stuff like this, don't. Just don't.
Not like the other. And upon plucking it into your head, you suddenly start to see things that you couldn't before. Messages and clues written in invisible ink which show us exactly how to open the various locks hidden throughout the cabin. This leads us to a roll of film and a third talking card. The one-eyed stunted wolf. Wonder what happened to his other... Oh, I get it. What's interesting is that these talking cards aren't exactly friendly to each other, let alone with our Dungeon Master. Not only that, but they change appearances throughout the game. The stoat starts to look less like a woodland weasel and more like a creature with a mechanical head. And the card that begins as a stink bug starts to take on the appearance of an old woman. It's certainly strange, but we don't have a lot of time to think about it because with our film in hand, it's time to duel. We sit down at Leshy's table one final time, proceed to the end of his board, and beat him. But as we deliver the final blow, we hear a familiar voice.
Oh my... I think I just beat him!
It's the same voice from the beginning of the game. Suddenly, we're ripped out of the gameplay, revealing that what we've been seeing all along was actually just a video recording. We aren't actually playing the game, but rather we're playing as someone playing the game. This mystery voice. Man, you gotta love that about indie games. If it isn't 3 layers of meta within the first couple hours of your gameplay, are you truly playing an indie game? That voice belongs to a guy named Luke Carter, a humble card game aficionado and aspiring YouTuber. Because, of course, he wants to be a YouTuber.
Hey there, card gamers. I'm the Lucky Carter, and this is a vintage pack opening video. I've got 4 packs of Inscryption.
Next thing you know, he's gonna try to start a podcast and box against Floyd Mayweather. But what our little Logan Paul wannabe has in his hands is
Mayweather would kill him.
No ordinary pack of cards. Inside one of them is something unusual, a set of coordinates.
49 degrees north, 123 degrees west.
And like a true theorist, Luke goes and visits the coordinates on the map where he finds an old floppy disk with a simple handwritten label, Ben Drown. Sorry, wrong creepypasta. It's actually labeled Inscryption.
I was about to say. Do not say that one. That one That one creepypasta actually gives me chills. It made me not look at The Legend of Zelda the same way ever again.
That's the name of the movie.
Game, actually, but you're close. Anyway, in the words of another game franchise, some things are best left forgotten for now. Luke probably should have left that disc buried, though, because by digging it up, he starts to attract the unwanted attention of Game Funa, the game's creators. In fact, representatives start visiting his house.
Floppy disk for a game called Inscryption. I was told you came by a copy of it somehow.
Listen, how did you know where I live, exactly? And how did you get past the side gate? It's locked.
Like any good YouTuber, Luke films it all, except the video and audio periodically glitch, leaving the subtitles alone to reveal the truth. That's binary for Amanda, in case you were wondering. And what's Amanda looking for?
Oh.
Well, that's hidden in another glitch.
Did anyone ever play an Inscryption video game?
See that? More binary. Translating it gets me the Karnoffel code, which, after a quick Google search, is just some old German card game. Now, it would be an odd Easter egg on its own, but the game actually tells us more. Or, I suppose I should say the game within the game. See, if you jump back into Inscryption after defeating the Dungeon Master, you grab the camera and use the magical film that you found earlier to turn him into a card. This suddenly unlocks the New Game button that was missing from the opening menu. Now...
Huh. The guy looked freaked out the second it showed that you had it. Probably representation of... forget it.
Now we can finally start this thing from the beginning. The real beginning. And you see, this is where things start to get real trippy because this new game is literally exactly that. A new game in a completely different graphical style. Immediately we're told about 4 characters known as the Scribes who have different ways of creating cards. There's the old woman Grimora who uses her quill to inscribe the epitaphs of the dead, P03, a robot who uses a particle scanner to create cards, as well as Magnificus who used his brush to paint his wizard pupils. And if all 3 of these look familiar, well, that's because they were our 3 talking cards. The Stink Bug, the Stoat, and the Stunted Wolf from earlier on in the playthrough. How did this happen? Well, it's all thanks to the 4th scribe, Leshy.
He's the guy we fought in the game. Well, he's the guy you fight in this game at the beginning until you get the New Game button. Wonder what made him lose it to actually decide to card his companions.
He uses his camera to capture the others, just like he would use it on us at the end of each game that we lose. And just like Game Funa out in the real world, the characters in the game are also looking for something. Leshy has the angler plumbing the depths for some long-forgotten relic. P03 has the dredger digging through the archives, trying to find something equally ancient, something named the Old Data. We learn from this guy late in the game about this mysterious data and how it carries with it the Karnoffel code. There's that phrase again, which is apparently something like a virus, one that was responsible for giving these 4 scribes their sentience. That's right, the characters in the game are alive, or at least they want to be. When Leshy is finally defeated by the player, P03 remarks that, quote, "We would have been even sooner if the disc wasn't lost." So not only is P03 aware that he's a character in a game, but he's aware that the disc that they were on was lost out in the woods. Quote again, "Dearest Grimora, I believe P03's plot may go far past the extent of a common power grab. Indeed, this great transcendence will have catastrophic and unpredictable results." Great transcendence, you say there, Magnificus? A video game character trying to break out into real life? What? You don't say. Anyway, by the end of the game, P03...
That's becoming a trend now. But it's an interesting thing for indie games to do. So, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Great transcendence is thwarted,
as
and
long
the
as
game
they don't,
description gets deleted
make it
off
too
the
tacky.
disc. Eventually, all that remains is you and the old data, with an NPC casually dropping the recommendation that you do not access it. So, you know, of course I'm gonna access it. Old data begins unzipping, flooding the screen with redacted images. Whatever it is, it's enough to terrify Luke into ripping the disc from his drive and smashing it with a hammer. Speaking of Luke, he calls a journalist, hoping to expose the truth about Game Funa and the terrible secrets that he just uncovered, but he's interrupted interrupted by the arrival of Amanda, who ensures that Luke is taken out before telling the rest of his story, and before reminding us to like, comment, and subscribe. So that's the base story, but there's still a lot of missing pieces here. What is the old data, and how did it get onto this disc? Well, what exactly the old data is still a bit unclear, but it was clearly powerful stuff, powerful enough to grant sentience to game entities and bring oblivion to the rest of the world. We know, based on the game's ending, that it can't be deleted. We also know it's something incriminating enough that Game Funa were willing to kill in order to get it back. And all of it is tied to a girl named Casey. You see, in Act 3 of the game, we meet a figure that...
Okay. Casey. Maybe it's like something she made that will destroy the world.
Offers us a rare card, one named Casey, who we're told is the creator of Inscryption. According to the in-game dialogue, she also learned a lot about the old data. This moment alone was enough to get my theorist senses a-tingling, but we actually hear mention of her 2 other times in the game, as a death card in Part 1, as well as a person who got hit by ice in Part 2's Bone Game. Luke also stumbles across her name during his investigation of the disc.
Listen, I was at your garage sale the other day, and they were your daughters? Would it be possible for me to speak with her? Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Her name was Casey? That's a lovely name. Sorry, what? She worked for Inscryption?
And just like that, the puzzle pieces start to come together. This character, Casey, is the one who buried the game out in the woods, but something seems to have happened to her.
Death for injury. Oh my god. Game developer Casey Hobbs died from fire-related complications.
She died in a fire, which, in a dark twist, ties directly to something that we see in the game. In Part 3, a bot named Casey offers to clear up some ice that blocks a road using fire. P03 thinks that this is funny, proving just how dark and twisted this sadistic stoat robot actually is. So, based on everything that we learn about Casey, it seems like all of her actions were meant to keep the old data locked away and hidden. Because remember, it can't be deleted, not even when you have full file control. First, she buried the old data under the game Inscryption in order to hide it away, with the game acting as a sort of seal. Then, she buried the physical disc out in the woods. But not only that, she found a way to soft lock Inscryption so that the scribes wouldn't be able to break the seal on the old data. We know that the scribes are engaged in a perpetual turf war, constantly vying against each other for power. So, when you think about it, putting Leshy in charge was actually the smartest thing that Casey could have done. We know firsthand that just leaving the disc in a new game state would be unstable. One of the scribes would be able to make a grab for power eventually. If Grimora got control, she might use it to free herself from the pain of existence by erasing Inscryption, just like we see her do during the game's ending. So she can't be trusted. P03 actually presents the opposite problem. He wants to share Inscryption with the world, which is not the kind of entity you want in charge when your goal is to bury a secret in the woods and hide it. But Leshy just wants to play card games. As we saw at the start of the game, he's more than happy to exist in a perpetual loop, forever sitting in his log cabin playing tabletop cards with anyone who will drop by. In short, Leshy is the perfect soft lock, which leads us to another disturbing conclusion here. Inscryption is a game where the only winning move is not playing it. By playing the game, by beating Leshy and starting a new game, Luke, and by proxy us as the player, have allowed the old data to escape. We broke the soft lock. We shattered Casey's carefully crafted seal. During the game's ending, when Inscryption gets deleted, the old data is able to be unleashed, and that is our doing. Like I said at the beginning, by playing the game, we lose. We were always meant to lose. But that still leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions. Now that the old data's been unleashed, what exactly happens? When and where did the old data come from? And who is the mysterious blue man that's behind it all? In the brief flashes that we get as the old data gets unleashed, we see a non-combatant's certificate from the US Department of Defense for someone named Barry Reginald Wilkinson, as well as a brief text exchange that mentions that he smuggled the disc out mixed in with a bunch of other blank discs. But those questions and more will have to come in a future episode, because this one goes way beyond the world of just Inscryption. Just when you thought that you were done with the game, there's an entire metagame that exists around it, explaining its deepest and most interesting mysteries. I told you this one had a ton of layers, so next time watch as we cover the real-world scavenger hunt that led to real people, not actors, but real gamers, hunting down an actual floppy disk that was buried out in the woods labeled Inscryption. So hit that subscribe button to get notified when that episode goes live, because this is one story that's only just beginning. In the meantime, I've actually gotten kind of hungry, and as appetizing as Leshy's cake looks, I'd rather order something from a slightly more trustworthy source. And with the help of today's sponsor, I can actually save money while doing it. That's right, today's episode was sponsored by Honey, an online shopping
Alright, so far, terrifying game. I believe that this old file or whatever is the end of the world. Whether by mind control, takeover, or some other kind of thing, I believe that's the case. Because it's the only thing that I can think of what that file could mean and do. So with that said, overall, this game is messed up. Like, seriously. The only way to win this game is to not play it. That is by far one twist that's rarely used. So, yeah. Gotta give the creator some credit. You play the game and you lose. You lose. You play the game and get to the end. You lose. You win the first part, but don't get the film. You lose. Oh my gosh. Everything in this game is losing. Even if you did get the correct thing. You still lose. Oh wow. That is a literal twist of all twist is. Since I think there's only one other game that I can think of that has this kind of thing. Yeah. Weird. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button down below. Also be sure to hit subscribe to support. Wow, I mixed my words up. To support this channel, these types of video content, and so on and so forth. The link to the original video will be down in the description down below. Also, be sure to leave a comment saying what you want me to react to next. I'm willing to react. I'm willing to see whether it be the next part of this or something hilarious. Also, be sure to check Thursday for Thursday's video, that is, to see what I'm talking about of what I'm going to do and post on Friday. That said, I hope you all enjoy. I hope to see you all next time. And this is Yin-Yang Ray, signing off. Bye.